Yo, what's going on? What's going on? Happy Friday, y'all. My name is Justin Moore. I'm the founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Today, we are talking about concepts. If you are tired of making endless revisions when you collaborate with brands, you probably forgot one very critical element. So we're going to be talking about that today. So let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. I am live across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. I am here. We've got Yesenia Rodriguez. We've got Game Boy. We've got Lorenzo Mormon. We've got Werner Hofer. What's going on? We've got Grumpus. Great to see y'all here. And yeah, please let me know where you're tuning in from. We got Chris. We got Chris Quinn in the YouTube chat. What's going on, Chris? Yes, today is a good day. I am choosing to have a great day today, and so far so good. Let me pull up the Instagram chat to see who we got tuning in over there. Let's see here. We've got. Am I live on Instagram? I don't know. Let's see, because it doesn't seem like I am. Why is that? Oh, because I didn't start the broadcast. No wonder. Let's see. I use like a separate tool to go live on Instagram. So no wonder it wasn't working. There we go. I'm live now. There we go. I just pulled it up. All right. So yes, we've got Anka Bond. What's going on, Anka? Good to see you here as well. So let's dive right into it. We're going to be doing a little bit of Q&A later in the live stream. But for now, again, we're going to be talking about the importance of concepts. Okay, so as a creator, you've probably got a pretty hectic schedule, right? You've got your own content schedule to stick to, maybe a few external deadlines coming up, right? Not to mention trying to live your life around all your online commitments, right? But I've found that a huge amount of creators I've coached are inadvertently wasting time and getting super stressed out when they work with brands because they're forgetting to do something absolutely critical. And if you're not doing this thing, you're going to find it super hard to create your next piece of sponsored content, right? And you're at risk of having to do a bunch of extra work and revisions that you didn't anticipate. And so, drum roll, please. What is that? Well, it's sending the brand a concept proposal, even if they don't ask for one. So today we're going to talk about why aligning on a concept is so important and the most common mistakes that creators make when doing so. So let's kick it off with why concepts are important. So concepts are important because it forces brands to decide what they actually want. Have you ever spoken with a brand that had like a half completed vision of what the campaign should be, right? I'm sure that it looked amazing in their heads, right? But expecting you to read their mind and fill in the blanks just isn't reasonable, right? I absolutely guarantee you that if you have to try and guess what the brand wants, the process is going to take way longer, and there's a super strong chance that the brand is going to tell you something like, well, that's not really what we had in mind, right? So let me know in the comments if that's ever happened to you, right? They say, oh, we want it to be organic and authentic, and oh, we trust you. You're a creator. You have like a much better handle on like how we can execute this, et cetera, right? And then you create the content thinking that the brand's going to be thrilled, and then they'd be like, oh, well, you know what? That's actually not what we wanted. Can you reshoot this? Can you refilm this? Can you completely redo this part of it? Blah, 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 blah. Right? And it just is like super frustrating, super annoying. It happened early on many times to my wife and I before we wised up and changed up our approach. And so that is why you have to be firm. And when you send a concept to a brand, you have to align on expectations before producing anything, right? Why go through all the effort of making the content without a degree of certainty that it's what the brand wants, right? When you are sitting there planning out the content, how much easier would it be if you had already aligned on a bunch of key talking points, right? Specific shot ideas and precise call to action wording, right? And when you actually go to create the content, you can have that confidence that you won't have to do a bunch of unpaid extra work, right? That's the worst feeling, is like, oh man, like had I known the brand wanted it this way, now they're asking me to do all this stuff, but it's like, I'm already like so far into it that I have no choice but to just do it, right? And it's a really not a great feeling, right? Every contract that you sign should have a finite number of revisions built in, and you have to add it if it doesn't, by the way. And so although there will like usually be a clause to cover if you go rogue and submit something significantly off brief, as long as you have aligned on a concept before you create the content, you're going to ensure that the brand they can't like push their luck with future revisions, right? And if they start demanding unreasonable edits, like reshooting half the content or asking you to like entirely change the key talking points, you can point them back to the concept that you both agreed on together and politely explain that, that type of revision lies outside the contract. Right. And so you have to be able to have the confidence to stand up and say, look, like, this is what's okay. This is what's not okay. Like obviously, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the ultimate content that's generated from this partnership, both parties are thrilled with, of course. But there are lines that you have to draw, because otherwise, if you don't stand up and educate them and say something like, you know what, I don't think that's the best way to approach this. Here's the reason why. Right? Which is why the next point here is the reason that you need to send brands a concept before you shoot or create any sort of content is that it illustrates your professionalism, right? Honestly, you have no idea how few creators actually submit concepts for brands feedback, because when you do, it's going to seem like you actually care about what the brand is trying to achieve, right? Even if a brand isn't accustomed to like asking for a concept, they're going to realize pretty quickly how much better collaborations turn out when the creator provides one. Right? I was actually DMing with a creator earlier today, just like on the point of like professionalism and ensuring that things are memorialized and like basically the situation was the creator wanted to collaborate with this brand. They were a fairly kind of medium-sized brand, I would say, pretty well known within the space of this creator's niche, but the brand was not offering up a contract. Right. And the creator was like, this seems weird. Like I would have expected that, this level of brand would have, offered up something like that. And I just don't feel comfortable collaborating with them if they're not going to be providing a contract. And I said, absolutely, you need to have a contract. Like if they're not giving you one, you need to do it. And so again, a lot of times creators feel stuck because they want to move forward with a collaboration with the brand. But then, that brand is either there's some red flags or it's seeming kind of unprofessional. And so it's like, the ball kind of shifts into your court. Like if you want to take this deal and you don't want to have to walk away, you are going to have to maybe hire a lawyer or get a contract template that you feel comfortable presenting to them and say, hey, you know what, I want to move forward here, but we do need to memorialize this this contract, this partnership to make sure that expectations are aligned on both sides, right? And so it's the same way with the concept. If the brand comes to you and wants to collaborate with you, oh, we trust you, XYZ. No, you do not do that. You say, okay, that's great. Thank you so much for trusting me. I appreciate that. But here's how I'm, imagining that I'm going to bring this partnership to life. Can you give me feedback on this? And inevitably, the brand is going to say, oh, thank you so much for, now that we think about it, we went back and talked with our internal team. And now that we think about it a little bit more, you're right. We actually need to make a few tweaks to how you're going to do this, right? I can't tell you how many times that has saved us so much extra work on the back end because, we did this work on the front end, right? Another common mistake and pitfall when it comes to sending concepts to brands is, again, creating content when the brand just says, oh, you know what, we trust you, right? Because the brand thinks that they trust you, right? But without getting the information right from the horse's mouth, you are never going to be able to bring their vision to life, right? There's this chasm between the brand's expectations and what you actually think that they want. Maybe you are familiar with their brand. Maybe you've seen other creators partner with the brand and you basically think, oh, like I'll just create it similar to how that other person did it, right? But they may have changed up their strategy since that post a year ago. And maybe they don't want to emphasize that particular feature or benefit of the product anymore. But again, a lot of creators think that brands have it all figured out, right? And the honest truth is that they don't. Right? They don't really, maybe they don't have a ton of experience working with creators and understanding like what is acceptable for them to ask for, what is not acceptable. They don't want to piss you off probably too, like especially if they're inexperienced. And so it's your job as a professional creator who collaborates with brands to basically come to them and say, hey, this is how it should work. Okay. Even though you're not asking for a concept, I'm going to send you one. Okay. We've got Getting Negative up in the YouTube chat. What's going on? We've got, let's see, we've got Lee Ertz. Good to see here. We've got Vera Kolesnik. Good to see you tuning in on TikTok. We've got Sabrina Marie. We've got TF Dow. We got Thousand Faces Dow tuning in the Instagram chat. We've got Anja, Lara Johnson. Good to see you here today. All right, so moving right along. Another really, really important reason that you need to send concepts to brands is that you need to make sure that you are not demonstrating the product or the service incorrectly, right? Are there any particular features that the brand wants you to show off, right? Is there a right and wrong way to demonstrate the product or the service? What sort of language do they want you to use when you're talking about them? If you do not ask, you can't, or you just won't know, right? And so again, it goes back to this idea of like the known unknowns, or what is it? The unknown knowns. I don't even know what that saying is. I can't remember it, but it's like, there's no way that you're ever going to know. There's these like unspoken ways in which you can talk about the brand or the product that could really like grind the brand's gears, or certain ways in which, like maybe a creator that they had partnered with in the past did it that way. And they got a bunch of blowback and negative comments and people flooding their customer service lines and all this stuff. Like when my wife and I collaborate with brands, like one of the biggest things we look for is in the creative brief, a do's and don'ts section. Because if they don't have it, we ask them, say, hey, thank you for sending this context and this background on the brand, but are there any, like, can you send us a short list of like do's and don'ts? Because when a brand is forced to sit down and think about, like here, yes, you can do this, talk about the brand in this way, but please absolutely do not do this. Do not, like we've asked brands this before, and like random things they'll say, oh, don't wear an article of clothing that's like blue because that's our competitors' colors. And like, that was just a sensitivity to the VP of marketing but they never said that in the brief, right? And so you can imagine how you could get into this really contentious scenario where you film the video or whatever piece of content it is wearing a blue shirt, and then the VP of marketing looks at it and is just like, I don't, they're more prone to be critical about other aspects of the video just because there's that one thing that they really don't like that they didn't articulate, they didn't, tell you about all this stuff too. And so you're in this really tricky situation where it's like obviously that's outside the scope of the contract, right? It's not fair for them to ask for a revision or a reshoot or something like that for something like that, which is kind of weird, right? But still at the same time, they're not as thrilled as they could be with the content because of this unknown thing that you didn't know, right? And so again, it comes back to like trying to suss out, trying to extract all these sensitivities as best as possible when you are having these initial conversations with brands. Okay. And so another common mistake and pitfall that I wanted to talk about is when you are like talking with a brand about a partnership, one of the biggest mistakes is not establishing what does and does not count as a revision. You have to make this decision, this distinction between, I'm tripping over my words, okay? You have to make this distinction before signing the contract, right? Otherwise, the brand basically can ask you to revise anything as many times as they want, which is not cool, right? And so oftentimes we will insert language into agreements saying something along the lines of, revisions can include re-edits, but not reshoots unless influencer substantially deviates from the approved concept and the approved creative brief. So what that means is that, hey, happy to do, whatever it is, 2 rounds of revisions, but a revision counts as a re-edit on the content, not a reshoot. And yet, totally fine agreeing to a clause saying like, hey, yeah, if we go totally off brief, right, we just start talking about crazy stuff and, not in alignment with the talking points and, all this stuff, then yeah, of course, that's on us to have to reshoot something like that or refilm it or redo it or whatever. But they can't ask you to reshoot stuff for no reason. Right. In fact, we go over this in detail in week 3 of my course Brand Deal Wizard, which, by the way, cohort 9 is enrollment is coming up here soon in just about 2 weeks or so. First class of that is going to be on June 20th. So this is the live version of my Brand Deal Wizard program, which we teach 3 times a year. And so, yeah, this is like an in-depth topic that we talk about how to look at a creative brief, how to understand feedback and interact with brands. So it's like a relationship building exercise rather than one that sours it, right? Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about here, which is really, really critical, is not properly disclosing the partnership legally. Okay. If you have ever had a brand ask you to change your content to downplay that it was sponsored, you need to be able to have that conversation before you produce the content, right? So in the United States, the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, is the regulatory body that dictates how you must disclose to your audience your relationship with partners, right? So it may be necessary to actually educate brands, right? Because the next time a brand tells you like, oh, we trust you, we just want the content to be organic and authentic, you're going to say, yeah, about that, right? And you're going to send them a concept anyway. Deal? Okay. So wanted to kick it off today just talking about this subject because I don't really see a lot of people like talking like, oh, I'm only going to send a concept to the brand when they ask me, which is totally counter to what you actually should do. You have to be sending this to them even if they are not asking you. Okay, so I'm gonna take a swig. I've been talking straight since we started here, and so I would love to take your questions all around brand deals, sponsorships, negotiations. Hit me with it. Let me know. Let's do this. I'm gonna turn on some quiz music. All right, I'm ready. Hit me. All right. We've got Jazzy Loves Disney tuning in, Semian tuning in on TikTok, Ant tuning in. Erica says, oh, maybe I should join the cohort then. Yeah, come on, Erica, let's do this. Go to branddealwizard.com, sign up for the wait list. Would love to see you in there. We actually have had quite a few people prepay for their seat, actually, because we limit the enrollment to 50 creators for the live cohorts. And so we've already had a couple people book their spots already. So would love to see you in there. All right. We got Durag Dev D'Amelio. Hold on a second, dude. You changed your handle on TikTok. Wasn't it Durag Dev the Goat before? Like, see, I remember that. I feel like it was, right? He says, hey, what's going on? We've got Moon over Miami. What's going on, Moon over Miami? We've got Life with Lala. Good to see you here tuning in. Let's see, we got a bunch of people coming in on Instagram. Foodie Payday. We've got One Loved Beauty Queen, BB King, Dom Rocks, Xavier Phillips, Mrs. Juno, NFL Buzzy. Good to see you all here. Durag says, TikTok changed to using your display name. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. See, I'm a total TikTok noob. Lola says, what would a well-executed concept include in your opinion? Great question, Lola. So a well-executed concept would include the following. This depends on the deliverables of the scope of what you're doing, right? So if you're executing content across multiple different platforms, like it's going to be different based on that. So if it's an integrated YouTube video or a dedicated YouTube video, that's one thing. Or if it's just like an Instagram reel or something like that, a video versus a photo, it just kind of depends. What I will say is that the larger the brand, the more detailed I would suggest having a concept, especially if there's any sort of regulatory compliance issues with that brand. So for example, if you are doing any sort of partnerships that is with a pharmaceutical company, okay, as my wife and I have done many times in the past, usually their legal review process is insane. Okay. And so it behooves you, it's in your best interest to try to articulate exactly the beats, like almost script it to a point where, hey, we're envisioning there's going to be 4 or 5 scenes in this reel, and this is exactly basically what we're going to do. Scene 1, it's going to be in the kitchen. We're going to be, saying X, Y, Z. Beat 2, we're going to be in the bedroom, and we're going to do X, Y, Z. Blah blah blah. Right. So you don't have to do it word for word, but like just trying to give them a vision of how this is going to be brought to life, so that when you ultimately do produce the content and you send them the review, you can send it to them for a review, they're going to be like, okay, this is exactly like what we approved and what was in, we had the legal team approve this, we had the brand manager, the agency approved it, whatever it is. The more fingers that are in the pie, basically, the more chances there are for issues to come up. Oh, we forgot about this thing, or oh, we forgot about this thing, right? And so again, as detailed as possible, the better, the larger the brand is. But again, even if it's a smaller brand, even if it's a medium-sized brand, I would encourage you to really, really try to articulate and enumerate exactly how you're going to bring this to life in as much detail as you can, because it's just going to eliminate the uncertainty, right? Which is the name of the game here when we're talking about concepts. It's really, really critical. So I know that's not like a super precise answer, but again, it's just like the larger the brand, I would really recommend having, trying to do it as detailed as possible. We got my boo thing in the chat on TikTok, and she said, "You are so fine, so hot," with heart eye emojis. What's up, boo? Hey, can you DM me after this and send me your number? Yes, please. Let me see. I don't have I wish I had like saxophone music or something, but I don't. Let me just do some applause there. Yeah, I don't know if it's not as good. But thank you, baby. I appreciate you. Why don't you come down here? Give us a guest appearance. Come on, come in here. Yeah, I need like the sexy saxophone, you know that song, guys? April says, "Not LOL. I look crazy. Not today." Okay, baby, it's okay. You don't got to come in here, but you look beautiful every day. You look beautiful every day, believe me. All right, there was a question. Someone else asked a question here, and I think I missed it. There's music in your background. Why is there music in my background? I don't understand. Music. Why is there music? I don't understand. Where's the music? Where's the music coming from? Is there still music on? I had the quiz music in the background. There was music. Yeah. I put the quiz music on. It was too loud. Sorry. I put the quiz music on so you guys could think about what your questions were, but I guess it was too loud. Sorry. I turned it off. Okay. Erica, it was your hold music. Oh, okay. I got it. Yeah. Erica says, "Can you please describe what we learned in the cohort?" Of course, Erica. Thank you. So first of all, if you sign up for the waitlist on branddealwizard.com, you actually get emailed, I think something like a 32-page info booklet that goes into really extreme detail about what the program is, but I'll real quickly describe it. So the live version of the cohort is a 4-week program that is basically a nuts to bolts sponsorship strategy course. And so week 1 is all about pitching. So we talk about how to craft a compelling pitch that no brand will ignore. Okay, how do you actually what do you say when you're reaching out to brands, right? We talk about how do you actually find the best person at a brand to reach out to, right? You should not be DMing them on Instagram. You should not be sending an email to press@brand.com. Definitely don't do that, right? So we talk about how do you use LinkedIn, for example, to really understand the marketing hierarchy at an organization, depending on the different, the scale, how many employees work there, all that stuff too. The social media manager is not the person to pitch at a brand. That person has absolutely nothing to do with forging paid partnerships with brands, right? So we talk about how you can look at different titles in the marketing organization and understand, looking at the different roles and responsibilities that people list on their LinkedIn profile and so on. So we do a deep dive into that in week 1. Week 2 is all around pricing and negotiating. So it's like, how do you, once you do have a brand on the hook, or, brand interested in wanting to collaborate with you, how do you put together packages? How do you understand kind of the art and science nature of putting pricing together, understanding why you should never have a standard rate card in your media kit or something like that. Oh, here's a couple packages of how you can work with me. It's the worst possible thing you can ever do. And so we talk about how do you arrive at what should be adequate pricing. And so one of the biggest takeaways from that week is that every deal you do should be priced differently based on the brand's objectives. So we talk about that in detail. Week 3 is all around execution of the partnership, right? So how do you come away? How do you actually go into production? Actually, kind of stuff we're talking about today is this whole concept idea. How do you understand the concept, the production phase, the feedback phase actually too, where it's the nuts and bolts of the collaboration, the actual meat and potatoes is the word I was looking for, the meat and potatoes of the activation, so that the brand comes away from this thinking, oh, man, we're definitely hiring that creator again, because this was the most seamless experience that we've ever had working with a creator. How do you do that? How do you engineer and manufacture processes for your own creator business to walk away from a collaboration like that with a brand, that being their attitude, right? And then the final week, week 4, is all around analysis. So it's how do you actually put together something called a post-campaign report and case studies? So you basically, it's not enough to just send screenshots or analytics or insights to a brand when they ask for that. Yeah, that's the bare minimum, okay? But you're not the bare minimum. You're here, you're on this live stream, right? And you're trying to invest in when you're trying to, in your knowledge and your education, right? Where it's like, no, you actually need to be putting together a post-campaign report where you share not just quantitative data on the campaign, on the how the campaign performed, but qualitative insights. What was your audience saying about it? Are there any insights that you can glean from the comments that people left that you can use to pitch them on the next collaboration? What most creators do is they work with the brand once and then they literally never talk to them again, and they wonder, why aren't I getting any long-term deals? Well, it's because you didn't pitch them on the next deal. It's not the brand's job to pitch, to say, oh, we want to work with you again. No, it's your job to pitch them on why they should work with you again, right? And so this is what we talk about. And it's limited to 50 seats. It's one of the most favorite things that I do in my business for my content and all this stuff too. I get to know each and every creator who enrolls really, really intimately and learn about their business, and some of the transformations that people have experienced is really, really powerful. So yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, make sure to go to branddealwizard.com to join the waitlist. Let's see. Erica says, wow, I didn't know about the media pricing stuff. I definitely need to be in the cohort. Yes, let's do it. Come on, Erica, join in. Would love to have you. Let's see. She Fires on YouTube says, I really love your content. You have helped me to identify deals that had pitfalls that would not have benefited me in the long run. Boom. Let's get a cha-ching. Let's get some applauses in the chat. Love to hear it. So glad to hear that. She Fires. Let's see here. Okay, Getting Negative had a question here. Can you speak more about the different types of sponsored disclosure? I know affiliate links must be addressed as such, but what about a video I was paid to make on my channel about a business? Yeah. So let's talk about disclosures. So first things first, I'll say that disclosures vary based on where you are, where you live in the world. I'll talk about the FTC, which is like kind of the regulatory body in the United States, but generally most regulatory bodies around the world have similar requirements. And basically it boils down to something as simple as you have to let your audience know if there was any material exchange of value that would impact your review or your testimonial or this piece of content that you're making. So whether that's a free thing, right? If you got something for free, that could materially impact how you're talking about it. You're probably more prone to say, this thing is cool, it's good, you should buy it, if you got it for free, or especially if you were compensated for it, right? And so regardless of exactly like what particular hashtag you should use or, how you exactly do this disclosure, the FTC at least has been, kind of vague about it. Yeah, they say hashtag ad is acceptable. They say hashtag sponsor is acceptable, right? But they also have said that like hashtag spawn is not acceptable. And the reason is that the average everyday person who is like coming across that post, they don't understand what that word means. Hashtag sponsor, what does that mean? Similarly, they also don't understand what, I worked with this brand. Most people don't know worked with it. What does that mean? That's vague. Like, were you paid by them? Or were you just like, you went to their studio and like they didn't pay you and they just let you film stuff? Like whatever, right? And so the whole point is like, just be clear. Be as clear as possible, right? Did you get this thing for free? Like, for example, like my wife and I do Amazon live streams every week, right? And so the whole point of it's Amazon Live is you show up, we're going to talk about products that you can buy. And so multiple times throughout the live stream, we will say, oh, by the way, if this is your first time tuning in on Amazon Live, just wanted to share a little bit about how it works. There's a carousel below this video or on the side, depending on where you're watching, on desktop or mobile. And when you click the product and you pull up the product page, if you add that to cart and make a purchase, we will receive a small commission on that. And we're always so appreciative of that. Hear that? That's what we say. And we say it multiple times throughout the live stream. You want to know why? Is because people are joining at different times. So it's not enough just to say it at the very beginning, because a lot of people will tune in like halfway through or even near the end, right? And so this is actually something that the FTC in particular has said, is that if you're doing a live stream or a type of content where people could join in the middle of it, you have to make regular disclosures, right? And so whether it, going back to your original question, Getting Negative, regarding like affiliate links, yeah, like you have to disclose that, right next to the link so that people know if they're clicking it that you could receive compensation for something like that. If you look in the description box of my YouTube videos, I have a section at the bottom where it just says Creator Wizard Affiliates, like in big bold. And then I just have a bunch of links. Like people ask me about stuff all the time, what email software are you using? Or, tell me about your camera equipment, or, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like very clear about it. Like I say it right at the bottom of my description boxes. So it's just like, it's always been super important to my wife and I, whenever we do partnerships, that you have to just like, you should own it. Puff your chest out. Be like, yeah, I'm getting paid for this. I'm an affiliate for this. I got this for free. Like, there's no reason to hide this stuff. Okay. Most people understand now that like one of the ways in which, creators derive income is affiliates, sponsorships, etc. So there's no reason to just shy away from it. Just own it. In fact, like it's the most important piece of this is that you should be having a conversation with your audience around why sponsorships are amazing, because it helps you, it allows you to continue to make great, awesome, free content for them. So every time you do a sponsorship, you can actually even say it in the sponsorship itself. So maybe you're doing a sponsored YouTube video, right? And you say, and again, we wanted to thank our sponsor XYZ for making it possible for us to continue to make this series that we have on this channel. Thank you so much to them. And next time if you do want to support them, make sure to let them know that we sent you. Like this type of idea, right? It's so powerful. Just that like very small explanation of like why you being sponsored benefits the audience. Like drawing that line, it seems obvious, but like a lot of people need to hear it, viewers or audience members, listeners, whatever platform you're on, they need to hear you make that statement because, if they trust you, they love you as a creator, maybe they are a Patreon supporter, like they patronize you, right? Like hearing that from you, oh yeah, like I really, I want to support the sponsors that support my favorite creator. That's like an important, subtle shift to make when you actually do the ad read, basically. All right. Does that help getting negative? Is that kind of what you were curious about? Like, if you were paid by a business to make a video on your channel, you absolutely have to disclose that 100%. All right. We've got Aaron, Ronnie, Christy, Kirsten Yamamoto tuning in, Holly, Teresa, Melanie Rez on TikTok. Good to see you all here. Man, TikTok is popping off today. We've got Southpaw 2K1, Princess Dog. What's going on? All right. We've got a question here from Bree. Need the recipe in IG. How do I go about pricing revisions that brands may ask for? I include one revision for free, but today a brand was being really specific about something that will take me a while to re-edit. So I have a pretty specific framework that I go over in my program about like, what are you supposed to like do for free and what are you supposed to charge for, right? And the first thing that I'll say is that it's very context specific, right? For example, like, is this a brand that you have a very long-term relationship with? Is this a brand that you've been working with over a year and it's almost like an ambassadorship? And the chief priority should be keeping those good vibes going because this is representing a consistent income for you. In that case, your threshold of like what you will and will not do for free is different, probably, right? So that's one thing. The other thing too is like, what type of entity is this? Is this a brand deal platform where you're not working with the brand directly? It's kind of an intermediary, and the likelihood of you having a long-term relationship with this entity is low, then yeah, maybe your threshold is different here, right? The place I always come from, these situations is like a place of empathy, right? Things come up during partnerships. Things come up that even the brand or the agency does not anticipate. And so if you're the creator who just gives them a bunch of flack and is just like, no, it's not, that's no way I'm doing that. No way, no how. Then, that's going to be a pretty, leave a pretty sour taste in their mouth, right? Contrast that with like, hey, yeah, okay, it's fine. Like, yeah, I'll record a 30-second voiceover. I'll fix it for you. No big deal, right? Like that, you're going to make your contact win, which at the end of the day, that's what's most important. That contact that you're working with doesn't want to have to go back to their boss and be like, oh man, this creator is giving me like such a hard time about this. Like, I don't know. It seems like we're gonna have to pay them more money. Like, contrast that with them going back to their boss and be like, yep, took care of it. No worries. That person's going to remember you. And the next time a campaign rolls around, they're probably going to hire you or put you in the deck to recommend to their client or whatever. Right. And so it's like a big part of this is like having a longer term perspective and on collaborations and partnerships and working with brands and stuff, because it's not just about this deal. It's about the long-term relationship that hopefully you're developing with this with this partner, right? And so I know you said like, yeah, this particular edit seems like it's going to take a while, but it's like on the grand scheme of things, if it's less than an hour, like just do it, just do it. It's a different thing if they're asking you to like reshoot stuff and all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. But if it's like, if it's not going to be like a big deal, just do it. Suck it up. It's fine, right? That person's going to remember you, and you're not going to remember that you spent an extra hour like editing this like in 6 months. You're not going to remember that. What you will remember is this other deal that they brought you, right? Let's see here. Peter, whoa, we got Peter Hollins. We have YouTube royalty in the chat here, guys. If I've been working as a creator, doing the antiquated brand deal thing for a long time, but I'm tired of just taking a transactional dollar and want to have ownership in the companies that I help evangelize and distribute for, how do I start that conversation? Wow. Great question, Peter. Are you sure you may not be starting a company around these lines that might help creators do that very thing? Such an interesting question, Peter. I'm glad you brought it up though, because I love talking about this, of like how you, as a creator who are comfortable having, or who is comfortable having those higher level conversations with brands almost as a consultant, not just a creator. Like how do you like initially have that dialogue? The first, let's actually, I'm going to answer this question in a slightly different way, Peter. The first part of it is that let's talk about the mindset piece, because I think there are a lot of creators out there who have interest in like, being pulled in earlier on, maybe to the product development stage with brands, or just doing some like maybe some marketing consultation around their social media strategy and like all this stuff. But like, so like there are people who have that inkling of an idea that like that is something they think they could do, but they just feel so they're so intimidated by like, I don't know if that's like really imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know if that's for me. So I want to attack that issue first, because I just don't think creators realize how much knowledge and expertise you have developed over your time building influence and building a platform and building, an audience. Like, brands have a very, very hard time understanding how this stuff works. And here you are day in and day out, you're posting, you're, engaging, you're publishing, you are doing all the stuff that is required to grow an audience, maintain that integrity and trust and connection with your audience. Like that is a hard thing to do day in and day out, right? And so I just want to like acknowledge you, every creator who's here and listening, that like you do hard stuff. And you have overcome a lot, and you have a lot of knowledge between these two ears. And so you cannot minimize that. Okay. And you have to own that. And you have to understand that like there are a lot of brands and companies and agencies and partners and people out there who will value that. Right. And so you may not, there may be some people who have like, friends or family or people in your life who have represented somewhat of a toxic influence for you, and who have said like, what are you doing this thing on social media? Or like, well, whatever, that's weird, like this type of thing. But it's like, know that there exists a space. I am that person. I am that advocate for you. And there's a lot of people in this community here that believe in you too. And so like, if this is something that you want to do, if you want to have these higher level conversations, if you want to say to a brand like, hey, I would love to come into your office and do a lunch and learn, or maybe it's over Zoom. Like, do you want to get some people from your marketing team or at the agency? Well, I'll get on a Zoom call and I'll talk about like what I'm seeing on the ground with TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever it is. Would love to do that for you, right? Like, if you are, like feel as though that's something that you would, be comfortable doing, do it. You don't need anyone's permission to do that. I am going to give you permission to do that right now, because it's once you start owning the fact that you have this expertise, and it's not a formalized education. You didn't go to school to this, but it was the school of hard knocks, right? It was the school of the algorithm knocks, right? You've been there, you've done that. You understand how to be nimble and change up your content strategy and your approach. And that is a hugely valuable asset. Okay. So I want you to hear what I'm saying. This really, really important piece at the outset of like thinking about something, about doing something like that, is feeling the confidence and kicking that imposter syndrome to the curb. Okay. So that's number one. Real quickly, Peter said, honestly, in-house creators doesn't do that. I am just tired of us getting used for only transactional means. Mindset, yes. I want us to have equity. Equity equals generational wealth. Yeah, 100%. So I think what you're talking about is like, how do we prepare this generation of creators that, has all this value to start serving some of these other industries and businesses that haven't traditionally worked with creators in that way. And I think in addition to the mindset piece, it's like having a process, having a system, having a methodology that you can come to these businesses and brands with and say like, hey, here is my five-step process. Right? You sit and you think, how have I grown on social media? How have I built this podcast to be this big? Or how have I built this website to, this blog to be this big, or this newsletter? Let me sit and think about that. Right? I did that. I sat and thought. I have an 8-step process called my sponsorship wheel. Right? And I sat and I thought, how have we had so much success working with brands over the last decade plus, right? We've made millions and millions of dollars doing that. That's not on accident, because I've worked with a lot of creators who have worked with brands, but they have not made nearly as much money as we have over the career. And I sat and I thought, why is that? There's definitely something we're doing right. And so I sat and I thought and I meditated about it and I codified it. I formalized it. This is my methodology, the 8 steps that I believe you need to have as a creator to land consistent, well-paying sponsorships, right? And so this is what I do. And so I'm serving, creators. I'm not serving brands and companies in that way, but I'm coming to creators and being like, here is my process. This is how, if you follow this framework, and now I have all these success stories, all these testimonials, all these wins of people who have gone through it and they'd be like, you know what? Yep, this is working for me too. It's not just you. It's not just you in a vacuum, right? But I didn't have that confidence early on. I started one-on-one coaching initially. That was what gave me the confidence to realize, oh, this is actually a repeatable methodology. It's not just working for me, right? I didn't come out the gates being like, here's my course, here's my coach. That was not what I started. It was very much let me do this on a one-on-one basis, right? And so extrapolate this to your question, Peter, is okay, how do you serve brands in this way? Where you want to give them more value as a consultant, all this stuff too, is develop your own proprietary framework as a creator. This is how this is the 4-step, 5-step, 3-step, whatever it is. This is how I have seen success, and I believe that I can help your brand achieve success in that way as well, right? So does that answer your question, Peter? Because that's kind of where my mind goes here, is develop your own proprietary framework. Why not? Do it. We all have knowledge we all have unique ways in which we approach our own content strategy and stuff too. And I think that can be imbued to others. Not just for your own business, right? Sonia Teach says, when does your program reopen? Sonia, my program, the next live cohort of my Brand Deal Wizard program opens June. Let me tell you, I have my calendar here. It reopens first enrollment is June 8th. So, oh my God, less than 2 weeks. 13 days, I guess. So if you're interested in would love to see you in there. It's branddealwizard.com if you want to sign up for the wait list. And you didn't hear this from me, but a little birdie says that if you're on the wait list, sometimes I might open the doors a little early to those on the wait list. So join the wait list. And first class is June 20th. All right, I'm going to take a swig. What's up, LAS Curry? Good to see you, man. I believe that did I see a question from you earlier on? Yes, I did. LAS Curry, what verbiage do you use in your contract when you want to let the brand know that they can't influence the content of the product review and they don't see the video until it's published? Or is that wrong? Yeah, that's wrong. They should be able to. I don't agree with that approach. This is my personal opinion, but I've done hundreds and hundreds of deals. This is a business transaction, man. They should have the ability to review it and provide some feedback within reason. They shouldn't be able to dictate, that you should be this line needs to be more of a glowing review of our product. That's not what I'm saying, but they should be able to have some sort of creative input into how their brand and their product is talked about. That this is a business transaction. They're compensating you to talk about them on your platforms, right? And so this may run counter with what other advice that other people give, but I just don't think it's a reasonable expectation to be like, no, you don't get any feedback on this and you don't even get to see it until it goes live. That's not, imagine if this was your business and you want to work with creators, right? And they said something like that to you. You'd be like, wait a minute, what if the creator says something insane and crazy, right? Because they probably have had experience with people doing that, right? And so that's not a great feeling. And that very much feels does that feel like a partnership? No, that very much feels like an unbalanced relationship, right? You want to be able to come to them and be like, hey, look, I want to, what you can do real quickly is establish some editorial guidelines. You can say, hey, this is how I operate. This is how I do reviews of brands and products and stuff like that. There are some times where I will provide, things that may be perceived to be negative about your brand or your product. But that is why you educate them to say but that is why my viewers trust me, is because they know that I'm going to give an objective take on this brand or this product or whatever. Right. And so within reason, you have to be comfortable with that. And you say that at the outset, and that's okay. So what I want you to hear is that it's okay to have editorial standards, but at the same time, you also need to balance that with understanding that this is a business transaction. And so the reason that they're compensating you to talk about them is to get more customers, is to drive more sales. Right. And so you, on the other hand, need to understand that and say, okay, yeah, I have these editorial standards, but I will, we'll work together. I want this to be a mutually beneficial thing. And so if you come back to me with 8, different points of feedback, you as the creator, as the expert, right? You come to them and say, hey, you know what? These 4 pieces of feedback, that's fine. I'll be happy to incorporate those into the content. But here is why I don't believe it makes sense to incorporate these other 4 pieces of content. And here's my suggestion instead. So rather than just saying, no, no, I'm not going to do that. What I have found, this is just a general business practice, is you don't just say no, my way or the highway. You say, I'm not going to do that, but here is 2 other options, right? So you don't just say no, you give them other options of how you could position that instead, and you let them choose, basically, right? And so again, it's coming back to this idea of, partnerships are not a fight. They're not a battle. There are some brands out there who may want to take advantage of creators, but that is the exception. Again, I've done literally by now thousands of sponsorships, between doing it personally with my wife, over 500. I think we're on 535 or something. I just invoiced. And I've done over 1,000 through my agency. So I've done a lot of partnerships, and most brands want to do right by creators. And I know this is colored oftentimes by bad experiences you may have had along the way. And I understand that. But just try not to let that color all of your future relationships, because again, this should not be contentious. This should not be a fight. Working with brands is amazing if you are able to establish the right ground rules, the right guardrails, and just go into this thinking this is going to be amazing. The brand's going to be awesome, and you approach this professionally. Everything's going to change when you have that disposition. Okay. LAS Curry says, okay, right. That was what I was going for. A dictatorship. Yeah. That's what it sounded like to me, but it's okay. This is why you're here, right? And you said it's very helpful. Of course, dude. Glad to hear that. Xenia MB Herrera. Did I say that correctly? I hope I did. Should you add your partnerships on LinkedIn? Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite questions. In fact, we go over this, actually in detail, in my program, is the power of telegraphing all the partnerships you're doing on LinkedIn, because that is where the decision makers hang out. They don't hang out on any other platforms. Yeah, sometimes they may hang out on TikTok and Twitter and stuff like that. But LinkedIn is really the place to be, because you can start building your network. There's some kind of next level tactics about how, I talked a little bit earlier on the stream about the power of case studies, of how you can illustrate that, how you're doing all this amazing work for brands, right? And so a lot of people are being TikTok, LinkedIn, why? I'm not going to spend time on there. You would be surprised. It is a social network now. There is a feed, right? And so one of the big things that we do is, we'll take an excerpt of a clip or excerpt of a post that we've done on LinkedIn, and we post it on Instagram or another platform. Oh, so awesome to collaborate with brand XYZ. You tag the brand, for this, do a little 1 or 2 lines about what the collaboration was all about. Thanks to this person, this person, this person. You tag them, all the people at the contacts that you that you worked with on the partnership for the opportunity. Here's, and then you basically embed the content. If you want, you embed the content, like a link to the live content if anyone wants to see it. And then you get all this amazing engagement and feedback, and the brand contacts are in there and they're loving and using it. And there's some other reasons why you want to do this, employ this approach, but this should be part of every single time you do a sponsorship. It's part of the process. Remember, we talked about my 8-step sponsorship wheel around working with brands. This is part part of it. This is part of it because, again, you want to get this flywheel running. You don't just want to work with the brand once and then never talk to them again. The whole idea is like working with them, and then how do you pitch them on the next idea? And a big part of this is that post-campaign report, developing these case studies. So it's like very obvious to them that, like, you know, working with you on a longer term basis makes sense. Sonia says, I hate LinkedIn. You got to change your mind on that, Sonia. Okay. This is all mindset. Okay. You hate LinkedIn because it's not playing a critical role in your business. But when you work with me and when I teach you how to do it properly, you're going to love LinkedIn. Okay. I guarantee that. Okay. LinkedIn is one of my favorite places to be because it just brings me business all day long. Business. All right. I'm just going to pull up these sound effects because I think you need this. You need this, Sonia. Okay. I'm going to get you to love it. Okay. Paxton Poll says LinkedIn is where all the Gen Z players are. Look at that. All right. So Gen Z is on it. So if you're not on there, come on. Don't let Gen Z take all that. Durag says, bruh, gold. I got to do a recap on prior deals now. Perfect. Come on, man. Yeah, of course you do. It's really, really critical. That's a very, very important component of this because otherwise the partnerships are going to disappear into the ether, right? You're going to post them on your channel and then they're just going to kind of disappear unless you put them in your media kit, put them on your website, which they should be there too, arguably. AK Bull Moto says, I thought LinkedIn was out of date. No, heck no, man. It's as vibrant as ever. Okay. You got to be on there. It's really, really important. Akalia says, I thought people wouldn't be okay with tagging them on LinkedIn. What if I sign an NDA? I mean, are you revealing anything, Akalia? Are you revealing anything proprietary about? You're not saying, oh, this is how many like sales I generated. That's not what I'm saying. You're saying, so, you know, this was such an awesome partnership to do. Thank you to this brand for doing that, right? I have literally done this hundreds of times, and you know, these are, yeah, I'm signing contracts with each, but I'm not revealing anything proprietary. And virtually every single time, all the brand contacts, all the agency contacts, oh, loved working with you, Justin, April, you guys are amazing. Right? So I've literally never had an issue with that. like I'm not revealing anything that they would consider proprietary. Okay. Important. I can sense that this is the people I'm blowing some people's minds here. Like, well, LinkedIn, like what? That wasn't even on my radar. Yeah. Lola says it promotes the brand in a very positive way. Exactly, Lola. Very positively. Why wouldn't they want that ego stroking? Right? Very, very important. All right. I think I saw another. Oh my God. What am I doing? What did I do? Sorry. I screwed up TikTok, I think. Okay. I had a question here on TikTok from someone that I missed. It went really far away. Where did it go? Oh my God. I lost it. Okay. I lost it. I'm so sad. I lost it. Okay. Did I miss a question in Instagram chat? I think I did. Sorry, I have all these different places that I'm finding. We've got Liz Feliciano tuning in. Good to see you. Let's see here. We got a little bit more context from Bree on this additional edit that they want. This is a recipe where they already had approved the outline and now they want me to add some ingredients. Ooh, that's challenging. So in this situation, if they're wanting to refilm, add some ingredients, that probably is a situation where, yeah, you definitely need to charge them some additional money for that, because that's that definitely, I would say, exceeds the threshold of a reasonable revision request. So that's kind of how I would handle that. We've got Break Even Books tuning in. Virtual Destiny, Baffle, good to see you. It's Diamond Goat, good to see you. Let's see here. Oh, Durag Dev the Goat said, sorry, I just keep saying your name because that's in my brain. Def had it on my radar. I just didn't know how to utilize it. Yeah, I get notifications for profile views all the time. Lola says, I've been dragging my feet with LinkedIn, but I'll definitely make it a focus in the coming month. Good to see it. Yes. All right. I love to see you guys taking some action here. Love to see it. LAS Curry had another question. There are 3 to 5 companies that I want as my dream client. How would you go about getting on their radar before reaching out? Start tagging them, man. Start talking about them on social media. Get on their radar by talking about them, because there's nothing more than a brand loves when they're getting ready to recruit for a a paid campaign, there's nothing they love more than having a short list of people who they already know have authentic affinity for their brand or their product. And a lot of creators think, well, if I'm tagging them for free, why would they pay me? Because let me explain something to you. When a brand is about to run a paid campaign, when you're organically talking about them in your content, are you saying, oh, go click the promo code LAScurry20 in my YouTube description box for 20% off your first purchase? Are you saying that when you're organically dropping, mentions of them on social media? You're not saying that. Or maybe there's specific, new features or new benefits or something to the product that's something new that they're releasing. Are you talking about that? No, you're not. And so that's why they're paying you. That's why they're compensating you. You know how much easier it is to educate someone who is do you know how much easier it is to onboard a creator into a paid campaign who is already familiar with the mission and the values and your features and your benefits of your products than it is to educate someone who's coming in cold off the street, who has never used your brand or your product? The risk now jumps up that they are going to talk about it or visually show it incorrectly. And now they have to do, oh my God, we got to go like reshoots and all this stuff versus you, where you're out there evangelizing their brand and their product already. Yeah, let's just go hire him. Right? And so this is the biggest misconception when it comes to like getting on brands' radars. You got to tag them. They don't know who you are unless you start talking about them and tag them. Right? And if a lot of people be like, yeah, but then they'll be like, oh, thanks so much for posting about it. Can we repost this on our page or whatever? It's like, no, like, don't get mad about this. This is your opening. You've got your foot in the door now. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you loved my content. Something like that actually requires an investment. And I'd love actually to talk to you about some new content, some unique content that I could generate for you. And so as part of that, happy to provide licensing as well as some new content. Are you free on 10 a.m. On Thursday to talk about this? You use that as an opening. Don't get mad. They're telling you that they value the content that you're generating and that they love what you're doing, right? Just start tagging the heck out of brands. That's what you got to do. Is that uncomfortable to anyone? No, just do it. LAS Curry says, I really appreciate you opening my mind to play the long game. Of course. Can you let me know your name, man? Please let me know your name. Okay, this is really weird, but is your wife Shauna? Because I think it is, but I didn't want to, I don't know. I didn't want to say that, but I was literally corresponding with Shauna this morning about some issues that you guys are experiencing. But I think it is. I'm not sure it is though, but I'm just going to say that. I'm glad to hear that I'm opening your mind, man. Okay, yes. All right. Your wife is Shauna. I've made the connection now. But what's your name? You got to let me know. I'm drawing a blank here. All right. We've got Angel White saying, I'm here from PTYA and just want to sing your praise. I pitched a paid campaign to a brand that sent me free product. I literally used your example pitch in the deck you presented, and they said yes. They said yes. I am their first paid influencer campaign. Angel, come on, guys, let's get some applause. Let's get some cha-chings for Angel in the chat. She just did the very first paid influencer campaign for a brand. So this is a very, very perfect example here. Creators think that like every brand does influencer marketing. Every brand works with creators in a paid capacity. Like Angel is the very first paid influencer campaign that they've ever done. The very first one. And so there literally are hundreds of brands that have never worked with a creator. And so you can be the one that educates them. What's up, baby?
Love you.
Come here. Oh yeah. Have fun. Love you.
Bye, friend.
Bye, honey. Drive safely. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Love you.
Thank you.
My wife has this like lipstick that's like, it's like a lip plumper. And so I don't know if it is, I kind of wipe it off. This one's a minty one. Okay. I don't have to wipe it off. I'm just going to like spread it now. But sometimes she's got this like lip plumper that burns. I don't even know how people wear it. It's just like, it's excruciating. It's just like, I can't even deal with it. Yeah. What is this? Like a lip plumper, lip balm? Like, man, I have to like rub it off immediately because I'm just like, oh, it's, yeah. Anyways, anyone like know what I'm talking about here? It's crazy. Oh, Anthony. Yeah. What's up, Anthony, man? Sorry. I remember we met at Vid Summit, but couldn't place her name. So good to see you here. Angel says, oh, they don't even have a contract yet. Yeah. So again, we were talking about this earlier in the stream. Like a brand wants to collaborate with you and they're like, yeah, let's just like treat this DM or this email thread as proof of the collaboration. And it's just like, no, like we need to have, a contract here. And so it's just like, again, don't automatically assume this is okay. This is again, going back to this thing that you said, Anthony, around like opening your mind to the long game. Like, when a brand says that they don't have a contract, don't automatically jump and assume to that they're trying to be malicious and they're trying to like screw you. And that's why they don't want to give you a contract. It's like, no, they just may be not super experienced with it. Right? So, Sonia says, I didn't realize she was your wife until recently. I love her reels. They're hilarious. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sonia. I'll let her know. I appreciate it. Xenia says, okay, I need you. How do I hire you? LOL. I need to clean up my LinkedIn. Xenia, come on, just hire me for a coaching session or join Brand Deal Wizard, because we go into this in detail. In fact, I think you can go to, let me drop it. I have like, I made this cool link. Because people kept asking me like, how can I work with you? Like what do you have courses? You have coaching? Like, what do you do? So I made this URL. It's creatorwizard.com/5 So 5 ways. I just dropped it in the chat. And I just goes over like all the different ways I help people work with brands. So I have my free YouTube channel. We have tons and tons of content. We have free newsletter. I have my gifted to paid course, which is the introductory program, and then I have my what I call kind of my signature program, which is Brand Deal Wizard, and then I have one-on-one coaching. So like happy to help if I can. Let's see here. Congratulations, Angel. Super, super proud of you. So it's an amazing accomplishment. Angel, I have a request, if you wouldn't mind. Once you close this deal and once you wrap it up and everything, would you send me a testimonial? Because that would mean so much to me. It doesn't have to be fancy. Even a written one, a filmed one would be amazing. But like a written one would be like, if I just let me know like how I helped. You didn't even invest in anything and you're getting these outcomes. Like that would be amazing. I love testimonials like that. I've said this before, like I'm not doing this for the money. Like my wife and I have made so much money and we're doing just fine with our own creator business. I don't need the money. That's not why I'm doing this. I really truly believe this is like my duty to like educate the next generation of creators. And so I don't care if any of you ever pay me a dime. I feel like I say this every live stream. I don't want, I like literally, if you like my free YouTube content, my free newsletter, if that gets you these outcomes that Angel's experiencing, for example, like that means so much to me. It's so fulfilling. It's why I do this. Right. And so, like if you need more detailed help, hire me. It's fine. There's always going to be more people there's always going to be people out there. This is like my general principle around selling stuff, coaching courses, like products, physical products, merchandise, whatever. There's always going to be people out there who need that stuff. And like, that's fine. Right. But if you're not in a position where you can like invest and like work with me, it's fine. Or if you're ever not able to, I don't care. As long as I can help you in, along your journey, like it's all going to come back around. I'm a big fan of like karma. I've had so many people like who they didn't even hire, like they never were in my courses, didn't hire me, but like I helped them in DMs or something, or like on a live stream or something. And then they went on to tell their group chat of like 10 other creators, who then one of those people ultimately enrolled in the program. So again, it's just like all comes back around. I really, really believe this, which is why I have absolutely no hesitance to talk about my programs and my stuff, because like, I know that if you invest $3,000 or whatever, like in my live course or in some of the lower ticket programs, like I know that you're going to make that back like 10x, even more so throughout the lifespan of your creator business. I have literally a 30-day money back guarantee on my program. You can literally go through the entire program, download everything, watch the videos, and if you no questions asked. That's how confident I am in the program, right? So it's like I hope that I'm teleporting or telegraphing. What's the word? That like I'm really literally not in this for money. I get so much satisfaction from seeing people succeed. So, all right. Let's see. Of course, Angel says, thank you about the testimonial. That would be amazing. Anthony says, I want to book a one-on-one with you and my wife. She's really trying to learn the brand side of things. Or would a Brand Deal Wizard program be better for her? So I have had some, like in your situation, Anthony, I have had quite a few interactions with Shauna over DMs, and based on some of the questions and issues that you guys are having, I really do think that the Brand Deal Wizard, the cohort program would be good for y'all, because Not only are you get this really important foundation and baseline understanding of like how to develop a robust and scalable sponsorship strategy for your business as a creator, but you also get to interact with all sorts of other creators who are building their businesses in really interesting ways. One of the biggest takeaways and feedback that we get from the program, because I'm really like obsessed with like making this literally the number one. I believe it's the best sponsorship course on the planet. Like I really believe that. But it's like the feedback that we get is like people are always saying like, wow, I learned so much from this person who has a newsletter or a podcast business. And I think I'm going to start a podcast now because of what I learned from, in the breakout groups and in the accountability groups and during office hours and all that stuff. Like I never wanted to touch short form content or TikTok. I'm like a long form YouTube, diehard person, but like now, you know what? I really see, I was like interacting with this other creator who has built a really big business on the back of that. Like maybe I should like think about that. Right. So it's like one of my like selfish reasons of like why I believe the program is so powerful is that you can learn from other people and how they've built their businesses. So like that's, but again, if a one-on-one is like helpful for you, then definitely look into that. The public one-on-one is that in a group? No. Okay. So sorry. I have two different versions of coaching, private coaching and public coaching. The private coaching is just like me and you on a Zoom call. It's private. It's not shared. You get the recording of it for your own reference. But that's definitely like private. When I say public coaching call, what I mean by that is there's no one else in there on the call, but, you will basically allow me to share the coaching call on YouTube. This is a new thing I'm trying, by the way. And so basically the difference in the investment is the private one-on-one coaching is $1,000 for the hour and the public coaching all is $500. So it's 50% off. But basically, like I say, that you have to be comfortable letting me share this on YouTube. And so, if we talk about specific brand names or whatever, I can redact those, but like you have to be comfortable me sharing like some of the challenges that you're experiencing in your business live. So I've recorded 2 of these public calls so far, and I'm so excited to release them on YouTube. I'm like still kind of in the edit phase on releasing this, but I think it's going to be really helpful. It's just like learning from hearing other people's challenges, negotiations, pitches, like challenges with brands, all that stuff. I think it's going to be a game changer. I'm excited for that format on my channels and stuff. So anyways, Anthony said that'd be cool to do it public. I think it's cool. I always learn from like, listening to other people's challenges and all that stuff too. So, pretty excited about that one. So anyways, y'all, good to see you. Hello, happy mom. We went a little bit over on the live stream today, but thank you all here for sticking with me. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, guys. This is my birthday weekend. My birthday's on Sunday. So I'm going to go get crunk. The translation is I'm going to like order like takeout and like watch Indian matchmaking on Netflix with my wife. That's like what a crunk birthday weekend looks like to me. So I'm looking forward to it. Those of you guys who live in the United States, hope you have a long weekend, nice long weekend for Memorial Day. And I will see you all on the flip side. All right. Peace.